Welcome back, my fellow makers and foam fanatics. In today's episode, we're going to be making a mask, a sci-fi mask. I got this pattern from my friend R31 Studios. If you guys want to check out more of his stuff, I have links for that below the video. I've had this pattern for a while and been looking forward to making this. So if you guys are ready, let's get started. Here's the pattern. All the parts are cut out. We went ahead and jumped ahead and cut some things out of foam already. The cylinder on the side, I think, is a really cool detail, but we're not going to be doing that today. I'm actually going to just use the base of the mask itself. All right, you can see I got everything all cut out. When constructing things, it's always like a personal preference. I like rounding the edges on edges that are going to be on the edge. Some people want to keep them crisp and clean. That's also a choice. But for this mask, I think it'd be nice to have these edges rounded slightly. All right, we have the stuff rounded. We're gonna do a little heat forming. I got my heat board. Now the heat board I love because when you're heating foam up, you don't want to do it on your cutting mat because it will heat up and warp it. I have an acrylic dome right here. I'm gonna have off the side. I'm going to heat the foam up and kind of drop it on this to kind of pre-curl the foam a little bit, put a little bit of a curl to it. Gonna press on this. Now again, if you don't have an acrylic dome, you can use a softball or a curved gym. I've had friends use a trailer hitch to make a foam anvil. So see, look at that, boom, perfect. This is the top, this is the bottom. Let's go ahead and get some contact cement. Now what I do is I take some scrap foam because I'm gonna need to get some glue and these darts. So you're gonna kind of dab it with a brush. I take the scrap foam and work it down the nooks and crannies and make sure the glue goes everywhere. All right, it's dry. Let's go ahead and line up our darts first. Like that. Like that. All right, gonna line it up. The thing is, when I'm doing this, I always make sure the top edge touches first because you want to make sure that seam stays nice and clean. So I've always found focus on the top edge first. That's touching, right? And keep track of the registration marks. Pow! Look at that. See, nice. All right, this is shaping up nicely. I like this. Let's go ahead and move on to some other pieces. This is the front right now. We'll set that aside. Side detail pieces. These pieces here actually get glued on like this, just like that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a little sharpie, make some marks. Then we're gonna apply some contact cement. Now again, we're just gluing on the 2mm foam, so we don't have to go crazy with the contact cement. Let's dry this. Apply, line up. There we go. Okay. Fantastic. This is coming together. Let's move on to some detailed parts. Okay. This is the top. And this detail piece goes on the top as well. Like this. These guys go like that. And they run along here like this. Perfect. I'm going to keep these edges sharp, but I'm going to round this off. And again, I'm going to do the same thing with the fine tip Sharpie and do some glue lines. Now, applying contact to the edges we know we're going to make contact, do those first. Get those out of the way. And then inside. Okay, the contact cement is dry. I'm going to apply. Got our edge right here, perfect. Line it up. All right, see, but before we do all that, let's run the edge here like this. Watch here. Line up. Like that. And that. There Make sure this stays on the seam. We come down like that. Touch the top here. Make sure it lines up like so. Follow our edge. That. Perfect. And then we focus on this part, getting the seams right against each other. Touch. Okay, now for the top detail we did earlier, that actually sits up on top of this and looks a lot cleaner. See, and I love the layering, the stepping. This is really nicely done. Great, got contact cement. It's dry. Line up our bottom piece right here. Around the mark. Just like that. And then the piece goes right here, just below it, like so. All right, it's dry. Let's line it up. Start with the top, right here on the edge, just like that. There we go, just like this. We have these side pieces. So this is where we resort back to the original pattern we have right here. You can see the recess line to where this goes on top. So what we're going to go ahead and do, since we had the original pattern, let's go ahead and cut that out. Like that. There we go. So now, cut this out. We lay this on our foam piece, and this gives us the exact trace line, or more likely our glue line, where the mask is going to fall. So now what I'm going to do though is I want to glue these guys together first. I want to get the seam nice on these guys. Okay, this is dry. Let's put these pieces together. Let's start with a trim piece here first. Line them up, make it nice and flush. Like that. There we go, that's perfect. Line them up. Gonna be careful, make sure we stay on the lines that we have traced here. Like that, and very carefully. Follow the lines. Wow, there we go, nice. Right now the mask is shaping up. What we're gonna do is we're gonna do a little heating to it. So with all the pieces together, different pieces of foam are fighting each other. So we're gonna heat it all up so we can take the fight out of it and shape it all up. That's perfect. I like these circles. They're a little rough because I did them with by hand, but I have a circle template here. I'm going to trace these again. Like that. Excellent. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to take an X-Acto blade and very carefully follow our Sharpie. I'm going to cut this out. All right. Now we have this done. I'm going to go ahead and take a stone bit. I'm just going to be very careful. I just want to clean up a little bit of the edges. There you go. The secret to going with a rotary tool is always going the direction the wheel is spinning. That's how you're able to do it, have somewhat of control on it, because otherwise you'll just dig holes in it. So yeah, this is looking good. Now the next step before we start sealing this up is I want to get a wood burner and do some like little wood burning details. Like some little, I love all this stuff going on here. Rivet detail would be nice, but instead of adding to it, we're going to do it with a wood burner. All right, while we let the wood burner heat up, I have some polyprops. This is our universal craft filler, and I'm going to use that to fill. There's a bit of some gaposes back here, which is not, a lot of people probably wouldn't see, but I know it's there and it drives me crazy. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill it up. I'll lay that stuff in there. I'm gonna wet it, smooth it out, like so, like that. For the front here, I have the rapid fill, and I'm going to use that for some seams here in the front. So while that is drying, I have my wood burner with a bit. We're going to add some additional detail to this. So right back here, like this be like a rubber gasket, so I'd have a, like these would be the rivets holding it in place. So little burns like that. And right there. You can see right here, this is the rapid fill. I went back into the sanded to hide the seams a little bit. As I went through all this work and doing this, I realized a little heat shaping and whatnot. The seams kind of popped open, if you guys can see here, inside the holes. I thought, you know, there's a simple solution to that. The same tubes I used to cut the holes, I'm going to cut some 2mm plugs. So I've got my little brass tube here. I'm going to cut me some 2mm. So the plan is just to drop these guys inside here to hide those seams. Get some contact cement. What I do is I put that in there. I just smear the contact cement around, because the contact cement itself will evaporate. The solvent will evaporate, and this will eventually stick. So to make it clean, I just do that. And you notice I don't have to do both sides. I'm just doing one side because they're both going to be kind of moving around there. All right, we have the fine finish. Let that dry. All right, there it is. The mask has now been sealed with Plasti-dip. It's all dry and ready to be painted. I like this edging on this. I would like it to stay black. So since it's already black and it's the Plasti-dip color, let's not paint it. Let's go ahead and mask it. So that's our first step up. I was going to go ahead and do some masking. I have some Tamiya tape for the edges, and this is what I'm going to do first. You know, for the bigger side pieces here, I got my frog tape, which is very similar. I mean, it's not as fine, but it is low tack masking. I love using this. So we're going to use this for the big areas. All right, everything has been masked off very carefully. We're going to be using the Tamiya. This is the metallic gray. We're going to apply it with my Pache airbrush. Got my little flow cup. I like to thin it down a little bit with some alcohol. I like starting with the edges first. I went back and looked at some metallic blue. Doesn't look bad, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. I know people, you can do this with a brush, but I'm actually really loving the airbrush. So, and I find that even though you're good with a brush, I want to make sure that this stays just a nice even color to it. So we're going to mask it. Let me take these gloves off. Okay, you can see that everything's been masked up. On the PLAIDFX paint, I know people think, can you airbrush with this stuff? And the answer is yes. You got to thin it down with a window cleaner. There you go. Oh, that's probably more than plenty. Just full-blown window cleaner right here. Just a little dab. A little dab will do ya. Yeah, I can really see this come together. Looking good. There it is, about 3-4 coats. Look at that, that's awesome. Well, while this dries, set this aside. This is the moment where everything makes it all worthwhile. Wow, I'm really glad I picked this blue. I really like the blue a lot. Look at that, huh? Coming together. That's pretty super cool. I have some perforated metal, as you can see right here. I drew out some circles, and I took my metal shears, and I'm going to cut them down as best I can, and then I'm going to take them to the grinder. Unfortunately, there's no way I'm going to be able to cut all this off. I'm just cut as much as I can, and then get them close enough you guys can see the sharpie. And these guys are going to be ground down. They're going to sit back here like this, and then my metallic pieces will sit in. Are these guys dry? Let's take a look. Let's find out. So let's go ahead and demask them really quickly here. Yeah, look at that. Nice. And got it, set it down. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and I have a belt sander over here off camera. I'm gonna go ahead and get some silicone gloves, which I have right here. This allows me to hold things when they get hot, because when I'm gonna grind this off, it's gonna get hot. So I'm gonna have to put my gloves on. So we're gonna go ahead and do that next. All right, there you go. A little more shaped up. They don't have to be perfectly round, but close enough. Let's get these gloves off. These are cut before I glue these in. I just realized too, I want to go ahead and paint this black. All right, we're getting so close to finishing up. We're going to do a little more painting. I like these little rivets. I want to paint these guys too. The more I look at these buttons, I was going to paint them a different color. The more I look at them, I really like them as blue, just keeping them all blue. I'm going to go ahead and get some chrome silver. All right, now that everything is painted, we're going to proceed to start putting our little metal vents in. I'll lay them up right back in here like so. And we're going to hot glue them from behind. All right, got them both glued in. Looks great. Now we take our pieces here and they drop in like this, right like that. I'll do a little dab like this. Then like so. Like that. As soon as the hot glue hit the metal, it just it cooled almost instantly. Not as thin as I'd like it to be, but I'm pretty hard pressed to get it off there because you can see the hot glue kind of creep through. So this time around, we're going to put hot glue on this first, which will allow me to center this up better. Yeah, see, much better. Got it. Okay. And now we go back to behind. We can run more hot glue on it to secure it. Oh yeah, there's one really on there. It's not coming off. Come together. Now the next step is we're going to put our strap on. And I'm going to add and measure for my skull. Let's get it all figured out. I got the tape, and the tape you can see right here is where it ends. So I know that's where it starts. So I apply hot glue here. But before I do, let me make some gloves on. I'm going to apply it to my strap. Flip it over and apply it, and then I have my silicone glove so I can push and not burn my fingers. Up. Okay, now we have to peel the tape off. Okay, everything's cooled. Now it's the moment of truth. Let's try it on. The moment of truth. Here we go. Ta-da! Look at that, right? This is, if you're going to go out and wear a mask, this is the mask to wear, right? This turned out great. Again, everybody, really quickly, I made a slight change. I originally glued the strap going this direction, and it kind of pulled it down, but I realized if you just do it up on an angle like this, it fits a lot better. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Again, R31 Studios, go to his website, check out his patterns, he has plenty. And while you're at it, go to my website, eviltedsmith.com, where I have patterns as well. If you're shopping for cosplay supplies, please shop through my links, helps me keep making videos. And if this is your first time watching my video, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, share with your friends, and leave comments. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you back next time right here on the Evil Ted channel.